Hey, I'm Sean,
Hi, I'm Shannon.
and we're the host of Wifey and Baby Mama. Welcome to Thursday Night Family. We are honored to be
Yes,
back with you yet another week. Yes.
yes,
And
we
this week,
are.
yes, and this week's episode is titled Who's Running the Show? We're going to discuss how parents allow their children to guilt them into the single life or just, let them be the boss of who they're going to date. And we're going to tell you why that's a definite no no. And we're going to get into some examples of how we can end up saying, my mistake when it's far too late, and how no one is ever good enough. So, oh, yeah, we're going to get into it. But first, Shannon, can we tell them how France is giving it up, girl?
Oh my gosh. I mean, we talked about them last week, but this week it's even more. I don't know who's over there, but we appreciate you all so much. The numbers you've taken over. I think I might have mentioned this last week, but the UK was the highest outside of the US. Of course, US is number one, and then the UK has held that second spot for since we've been doing this podcast. But now France is their numbers are even greater than what the UK was. So even when they were in the number two spot, and every day it's just growing, and I'm amazed. Not to discredit or disregard all the other countries because we are in 23 countries right now. So I
Holla.
have to get yeah, I know. Holla holla. So I have to give it to, all the countries around the world
Every
that
single
feel
one of
like,
you, but
yeah, that feel
France
like
is
we
doing
have
the
something to
thing.
say. Mhm.
Thank you, France. But
Yeah.
let me tell you something,
Yeah.
US. I know one thing. Thank you, France. But US, I bet you, I better not. Y'all better come on. But France, if y'all want to keep being faithful, then hey, dope.
Yeah.
Hey, the number one spots belong to
Yeah.
whoever the number one spot belongs to. So let's
Right.
go.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right. So we just had to give you guys a quick shout out because, like she said, every single day, that's right. And that thing is amazing, because I
I
guess we got some
know.
family in France we don't know about, but thank you. Anyways, we love you. And
Yes.
we're going to get into it. So,
All
tonight's
right.
topic, Who's Running the Show, is a topic that is vital to dating and marriage and blended families and just family alone. So we're going to get into some do's and don'ts that will keep you from saying my mistake later on down the line. Like I said, we love
Mm.
our guests. We wish we had Lexi back to break it down because we always invite extra people to give us a fresh point, to try to get you away from Shannon and I's woes of love
Yes.
and war relationship. But tonight it's just us. We're gonna be solo. So
Mhm.
we can keep you engaged. And Shannon, I don't know how we're gonna do this thing. I could have really been the subject. I'm gonna tell you, I could have been the test subject of tonight's show real easily,
Oh,
girl, if I didn't get myself
really?
together. Oh yeah. Because my kids were straight up like against it when my husband and I started back dating. And
Oh,
and I can
wow.
and I can always admit when I tell this story, it's because it was their world before we met. You got to just keep it
Mhm.
real. And I always
Yeah.
felt like I worked too much. I always say that. So it was my guilt. You know what I'm saying? That let them. They
Right.
literally read the relationship. Like they let it. I was
Yeah.
the mom. I was the financial provider, but they made the
Mhm.
decisions. And it was because I really felt guilty, Shannon, because of my failed
Mhm.
relationships and my bad choice in partners. So I let them
Yeah.
have at it. But when he came along, he was like, "Nah, ain't no kids running me." And slowly I had to just like realize like, okay, he's right. But even after we were married, I still found myself, Shannon. I still found myself in the beginning trying to negotiate, like, well, can we meet in the middle?
Mm.
Because before you got here, we did that. And he looked at
Right.
he said, listen, I'm not negotiating with no kids. Basically, like get
Mhm.
these little terrorists out of here. But
Yeah.
and so sooner or later, the adult in me, Shannon, gave in, and I had to join
Of
him in saying
course. Of
that
course.
we run
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
house.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We pay the
Exactly.
bills. We're the head. He's the head, actually. And then here I am, and the kids really
Mm.
had no say in that. Of course, we value their opinion and all, but
Oh,
when it
yeah.
came right down
Yeah.
to it, he was right. Like I'm not negotiating with
Mhm.
them. Like what are
Right.
they? And I'm telling you, it caused some cold shoulders. They ganged up on me. I cried sometimes, but girl,
Oh, I'm
eventually the adult
sure.
in me, yeah, the adult in me had to win. So parents, we have to
Mhm.
realize, especially single parents, especially when we've been at it a while, our kids
Mhm.
do become like our friends and they do become like our confidants. But when it comes to our love life, to be honest with you, kids have no place in that arena.
Right. And I know so many single women like I was, with a son. if you're a woman with a son, they're usually overprotective and they're, hating on everyone. Luckily, I didn't have that, and I don't know why. I don't know if I should be offended that my son, wasn't trying to be my protector as far as warding off guys or whatever. His
Mhm.
concern was, is my mom going to be taken care of when I'm gone? So he was always encouraging me to go date and go find someone. I don't want you to be alone. Like when he went off to school, he went all the way to Maine, from Charlotte
Mm.
to Maine. And so at very tip of the country too, not Portland, Maine, but Fort Kent.
Wow.
And yeah, and he was so concerned. I mean, it just worried him that I was going to be alone. And he's like, "Mom, I just really wish you had someone." So I don't have the experiences that a lot of my other friends, because I can tell you so many stories of my other friends who are single moms with a son, where the son would get in physical altercations with the man. There was always drama around the son and whoever the woman was trying to date. And one woman that I know, she's single to this day. Her son is grown now. He's living his best life, married with kids or whatever, but she's alone because he ruled everything that happened in the house, or she allowed him, I should say. She allowed her son when he was 10, 11, 12, you know, teenager. He would get in physical altercations with whoever she was dating, her boyfriend or whatever. And now here today, she's alone. She's all alone, where he's building his family and his life and doesn't see anything wrong with his mom being alone. And
Wow.
I yeah, I know. I'm lucky that my son was a lot I mean, he looked out for me in the sense where he really felt that I shouldn't be alone in life. Um, so you don't see a lot of that because most boys, like I said, with single moms, they don't want their mom dating anybody. They don't want to
Right.
see it.
Well, I can say this, Shannon, when I hear you speak about the sons. I can say that all of my kids were daughters on top of that, right? So I
Yeah,
did not
yeah.
have my son until my husband and I were married and then back in our place. So I'm very grateful because I can see even his, even though his father is his father, I can see his possessiveness of me right now, right? I
Oh,
couldn't
okay.
imagine like if his father wasn't around and then he came later on. I think
Mhm.
that would probably be a total different story for me. Now, I would probably eventually do what I did with my girls and say, hey, I got to be an adult to keep from saying, my mistake later on because I
Right,
allowed my kids to
right.
keep me from happiness. But I can see how some women allow that to happen. And we are trying to
Mhm.
deter that, ladies. If you have sons, please don't allow that to happen. Because just like you said,
Right.
and it sounds like you said, like, now he living his best life. Like, now he got some nerves. But that wasn't on that kid, though. That was on that mom,
Mm.
Shannon. So, I
Yeah, it
mean, it
definitely
does
was.
seem kind of messed up that now he's married
Yeah.
with kids and he's doing his thing, but that really was on the
Mhm.
mom, though. So,
Mhm.
it, you know, and you know what? Later on, I bet she probably, and I bet she sometimes look at him like, wow, like you're over there with your
Right.
family and look at me. So that's what we're trying to deter right now, women, by
Mhm.
letting you know that's not the way to go. That your
Yeah,
kids shouldn't be running the show when it comes to your love life.
they should not. They should not. And Sean, you mentioned, feeling guilt or whatever, and that's natural. I get that. Um, because you were doing all these things by yourself, and then here comes, the male figure, and he wants to change everything, and you're like, okay, I can't. The struggle and the push and pull. Like, which way
Uh
do I
huh.
go? Which way do I go? Um, and I'm glad that you were able to, recognize, hey, my husband does come first. You know, I love my
And it,
kids.
and but guess
Mhm.
what though? That took some work. I'll be the
Oh,
first to admit
yeah.
it didn't
Yeah.
just, it didn't just, oh, I'm married now. No, especially, and so when you're single for a while with kids,
Hmm.
that's it's a bond,
Yeah.
but it should not
Yeah.
be a commitment. Your commitments
Right.
to your partner, your commitments to your
Right.
partner.
Yeah.
Parenting
Yeah.
has his own commitment in his own lane, but it has nowhere. And when it comes to love and relationship, that's not it.
Mhm. Yeah.
So now,
And I
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was gonna go back on, single mothers with sons too. I've witnessed a lot from different friends and coworkers, and a lot of these women, they tend to look at their son as the man of the house. He's not.
Right.
Your son is not the man of the house. He's not running anything. He is not someone you need to submit yourself to, as we talked
No,
about a couple of weeks ago about submission. You don't submit yourself to your child. And I've
absolutely
seen
not.
that so many times, and I don't understand. I don't know where that comes from. Like, for example, I have a friend that if she cooks a meal and her 8-year-old doesn't want it after she's cooked it and decides he wants McDonald's or whatever, she will drop what she's doing and go run and get that for him. And it's like, what kind of message are you sending to your child
Absolutely
just
correct.
because you feel some type of way? Uh, Guilt, where does that guilt come from? Let that go because you don't understand the harm that you're doing to that child because in the real world, it's not going to operate that way. No one's going to drop what they're doing, especially when he gets married and his wife has cooked a meal and he decides, "Oh, I don't want that." Immediately there's going to be major drama because she's not going to drop typically, well, depending on the woman, but
Right.
9 times out of 10, she's not going to drop what she's doing or what she's created for you and go run out and get you something else or whatever. So these moms sending these wrong messages to these children, and not just boys. I'm bringing up boys because I see it a
And I
lot
was
with
gonna
my
and I was
single.
gonna I was waiting for you to finish so I can jump in. "Oh, no, ma'am. I
Yeah.
just said mine were girls, and that's how they had me for a
Right.
while, and I'm not
Yeah.
ashamed to admit it, but now that it's happened, I can tell you that
Yeah.
I did it, and I can tell you that it was
Yeah.
totally wrong. So that's why
Right.
we get on here, we try to, like I said, give you our war stories,
Mhm.
our love and war
Yeah.
stories, because
Yeah.
just because I did it doesn't mean it was right, and it didn't work for me, so you try to deter other
Mhm.
people from going down that road and saying my mistake later on. My daughter, kids were all daughters until my ex-husband and I remarried. But let me tell you this, the oldest daughter ran me. I was her girl. I I worked for her because her father was my first love, because he was gone and out of the picture for all those years, because I felt guilty that she didn't have her father. So even when the other 2 children came along, like, I still belonged to her, so she would now tell me and the other 2 what to do too. So she ran the house. So when her
Yeah.
father
Yeah.
came back, even though it's her father, she was like, "Oh, hell no. I don't care who daddy he is. I don't want that. I want those shoes. I want this
Mhm.
car." Imma tell you, we
Mm.
literally almost called it quits, which for her high school, graduation, because we agreed to buy her a car. He sent the money, we agreed on a Honda Civic. I bought the girl a BMW, okay?
Oh my gosh, Sean.
I know, at 16 years old, her father was livid. But
I'm
I'm gonna
sure.
I'm gonna justify myself. It was only a few more thousand than the Honda, and I figured, what's the what? And it wasn't a note to it. It was paid. It was an older one,
Yeah.
but it had so many. Girl, I tried to justify it every which way but loose. He
Mm.
was not having it. And he said, if
Yeah.
you're going to do those type of things, then you need to be alone, because you're not giving her anything to aspire to. What is
Right.
her husband? He said, what is her husband supposed to buy her for her 25th, anniversary? If you're buying her BMWs at 16, I'm like, that's on them to figure out. But when I thought about it, Shannon, I was dead wrong. Okay.
Right.
One,
Right.
I went against his will. And two,
Yeah.
she's completely and utterly ridiculously spoiled, and I
Yeah.
played a major part in that. And guess what? Coming down almost ruined our relationship, mother and daughter, because now I got to tell you no and not get these things. And the truth is, I shouldn't have been
Mhm.
doing it in the first place. You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? We're fine
Yeah.
now. It took a lot of counseling and praying. We're good now. We're not perfect, but she looked at it as, you betrayed me. Like, before this
Mhm.
man came along, I got whatever I wanted. So
Right.
that also put a strain on her and her father's relationship. And
Yeah.
the truth is, it was all me.
Yeah.
So
And
parents,
we
please
feel
understand. Kids have their
yeah.
place. It's not at the head of your
Yes.
house. It's not.
Yeah. And we do both, I guess, you and I both because, we share that common denominator. So with my son, you do feel some guilt. You're like, okay, his dad's not here, so you want to do
Mhm.
these extra stuff to make
That's
up
right.
for him not having the father. But now that my son's an adult and he talks to me about, childhood and all that, none of what I did matters to him because it did not make up for him not having his dad. And
It's
he
the
tells
truth.
me this now. He's like, "You could have bought me, a trip around the world or whatever. You could have given me $1 million, but all I wanted was my dad." And I'm like,
Mhm.
"Wow, you don't see that, um, when you're raising,
A
the child
child
alone."
alone.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
But the
Mhm.
truth is though, Shannon, you and I going through these things are examples for young
Mhm.
mothers or couples who don't even have kids before they even get started. To tell them the right way to do it. Like I
Yeah.
appreciate this platform so much because it gives us so much
Yes.
insight, right? And it keeps people from
Mhm.
walking in your shoes. And trust me, it's still gonna be people that walk in these shoes.
Oh,
And that's
yeah.
okay. We
Yeah.
can't save everybody. But our
Right.
mission is to just try to save as many people, as we can.
Mhm.
So guys, we're
Mhm.
telling you, uh, imploring you, don't do it.
Yeah.
When
Yeah, don't
all we can give is advice in our
right.
experience. We're not counselors. We can't
Exactly.
say that enough. We're not professional doctors. But
No,
let me tell you
no.
something. Life can teach you something that books can't. And
That's
trust me,
true.
life has taught us a
Mhm.
lot of things that books
It
cannot.
sure has.
And on
Yeah.
this show, we're going to give you a lot of advice. You can buy the parenting manuals you like. You can go to the group sessions you like. But until someone's walked in those shoes, trust me, it's nothing
Mhm.
like the real thing, baby.
Yeah,
Nothing
nothing
like
like
it.
it. Right, and giving into guilt, um, yes, it might make you feel better, but ultimately
Not
you
going to
gotta think
benefit
of
that
what
child
kinda
at
harm
all.
exactly,
Hmm.
exactly. Remember to put your children first, people. And a lot of us didn't do that. I was a young mother. Of course, I wasn't thinking about anybody but me. But if I can
So
help
we
someone,
did
if I
the
can,
things. Yeah, so you and I did
yeah,
things to make us feel better as moms.
exactly.
So when she
Yeah,
says put your
only thinking
children
about
first,
us.
I want to make that clear.
Mhm.
She's not saying put them first
Mhm.
in choosing a relationship. I think what you're
That's
saying,
right.
Shannon, is put them first and saying is what I'm doing going to help or harm these kids? And staying
Exactly.
single,
Mm.
walking around with your head scarf on, in your house shoes and holes in your gown, so you don't attract a
Yeah,
man because your
yeah,
children ain't
yeah.
comfortable because they want you to themselves is not the answer, my
Right.
people.
It's
That's not
not
the
the
answer.
answer. Yeah.
Live your
Yeah.
best
It
life.
is.
Give
Right,
your
and if
children the
you're
best life you can.
right, exactly, and if you're looking at your like, I hate it when I hear women saying, "Oh, he's the little man, he's the man of the house, he's the little man," that to me, that is not even cute. Don't say that. Even if you're joking or whatever, that is not the man of the house, even in a joking manner. That is your
Because you know
child.
what I just learned in the last few years, Shannon, that our words have power.
Oh,
And
yes.
and I know that I
Mhm,
mean, and like I said, I'm guilty. Your words have power. So
mhm.
even in a joking way, like you said, it's not cute. You're not
Right.
doing it, I'm sure, to manifest that they're going to be the man of the house, that you'll never have a man. But words have ways of
Mhm.
manifesting themselves because when you put that stuff out to the universe,
Yeah.
the wrong party hears it, trust me, and it can make
Mhm.
it a reality. So I totally get what you're
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
We
Yep.
have to be careful to guard these kids. Now,
Right.
I don't know. I think that's about all that I had to say as far as who's running the show. And we talked about the not getting married thing and guilting, up into your kids. But is it
Mhm.
anything else you want to add, Shannon, before we
No, that's it.
wrap it up? So,
Wrap it
um,
up.
so basically, all the things we've said here comes down to this, peeps. Don't allow your children's hang-ups to cost you your happiness or to be lonely your whole life. Sure,
Mhm.
their opinion, their well-being, happiness, and their safety, it matters. But don't let them
Yes.
guilt you into something that will never be. And if you're not with the biological mom or dad, because that's what a lot of kids like to do, I want
Mm,
my mom and dad here. It's probably over
mhm.
for a good reason. And they may
Right.
not understand that as children, but that's not a reason for you to live unhappy or in shame. Whatever partners you picked in the past, whatever relationship that had failed, that's where they should be. Move
Mhm.
on. Take care of your
Move
babies the best you
on.
can. but make sure you stay in control of your show and your love life and leave the
That's
babies in their
right.
place to be babies. All
Yes,
right.
yes.
So we're gonna
All
ready to
right.
invite the audience a little while.
All right. Audience invite.
Audience invite. Last week's song was Blended Family. That's what we do for love. And the artist was Alicia Keys featuring ASAP Rocky. So you
Ah.
know what to do, audience. After the show, tomorrow, over the weekend, whenever. Listen to
Mhm.
the song in its entirety and add some more flavor to your ear. I want you to check it out. Shannon, have you ever heard that one?
Yes, yes,
Yes, I
I
love that
have.
song. So yeah, so
Uh-huh.
last week's topic was parents don't make your kids work overtime. So we talk
Mhm.
about I thought that was a good tie-in, blended families. You know, that's what we do for love. Sometimes we do things we don't want to do, but we do what we gotta do. Okay. So if you're
Right.
feeling it after you listen to the song, if you're feeling that song, or if you guess tonight's songs from the lines we dropped during the I dropped during the episode, hit us up at wifeyandbabymama@gmail.com. That's wifeyandbabymama@gmail.com. And also, really quick, if you have any ideas or topics you would like to discuss, email us also at wifeyandbabymama@gmail.com. You can
Mhm.
hit us up there and we'll definitely get it on. We'll see how we can work it out, write it out for you, and give you a shout out. And it's on to you, baby mama. It's all you.
Yeah, yeah. So, well, before we go into the fictional family, but yeah, so, we do get feedback from folks that, they like our topics, but then they have some ideas. And they may tell me in passing, of course, if you don't write it down for me, I'm not gonna remember.
Didn't happen.
So so like Sean said, definitely send it to our Gmail so that we can, get it on the agenda and put it in the lineup for a future show. Because we welcome your feedback, and some of you have been so great with giving feedback. And Sean, we haven't had a bunch of negative feedback so far this
That's a good
season,
thing. That's a good thing. Hey,
so
baby,
we must be improving.
practice makes perfect, honey. We getting there. We getting there. But let me say
Yes.
something else too, Shannon, with your topics. Sometimes, Shannon, people are ashamed to talk about this stuff. Sometimes people don't
That's
want to
true.
associate with it. Sometimes they don't want
Yeah,
to. I think there
yeah,
was a lot of pushback with the red line. We would
right.
ask like, give us a name or a city. It wasn't to shame anyone. We just wanted to give you a shout out. So with this, you have to
Yeah,
give us. You don't have to give us anything. Just say, hey,
that's
what do
right.
you think about this topic? What do you think about this subject? And
Mhm.
we'll break it down for you. So we're here for it,
Right.
So
Yeah.
if you don't want to talk about it, baby, we'll talk about it. We here for
Mhm.
it. We'll do. Y'all know I love to run this mouth. So
Oh, yeah, yeah.
hit us up.
And now that you say that as well, we love our guests, and it would be great if someone from one of our other countries are listening to us and decide they want to come on as a guest. Hit us up for that too. We don't
Wifey
know
and
what's
baby
going
mama
on.
at gmail.com. We'll put it down, honey.
Right,
Email us.
exactly. Yeah, we don't know what's going on in France and the UK and all these other places. I don't know if it's expats listening to us, or if it's the native people from these countries listening to us. But if you apparently you identify with something that we're saying, and we get the we can't believe you guys are doing this all the time to this day, and we've been doing this now almost a year.
I can't
Well, not
believe it.
quite a year.
April
I
will
know.
be a year,
Yeah,
girl.
April
Oh
will
my
be a
God.
year, and we still get I can't believe you guys are doing this, and they can't believe our relationship. So if you're in another country and you're doing something similar, or you have a similar type of bond with
What
your
y'all wifey and baby mamas doing in
wifey and baby
France,
mamas. Yes,
United
exactly.
Kingdom, Spain? Tell us about it. Brazil, we want to hear it.
Yeah, yeah, hit us
And we would
up.
love to
We
have
would
you on.
Exactly. We would love to have you on. If you want to come on and talk to us, we're here for it. Here for it.
Absolutely.
All right. So now on to the fictional family I'm feeling. And tonight, and my voice is going, you guys, I'm sure you can probably hear it tonight. I have just a slight cold, nothing serious, no COVID, flu, or RSV, nothing like that.
It's going
But
around too.
I know it is. I'm not mocking the people who have all those things. So,
My
but
husband
mine is
just
just a
had it,
cold.
so It
Oh,
was
yeah.
terrible. So be
Yes,
thankful you don't
the
have it. Yeah,
flu.
the flu.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, out in the hospital type flu. So yeah,
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's
take care of
serious.
yourself, baby mama. This is one day I'm
Yeah,
happy we're not close to each other. I love you though, boo, but keep that. I just
I
fought through
know.
that, but I'm
I
sorry. Go
know.
ahead.
I know. Even my husband, he's blowing kisses at me. I'm like, what do you
I
mean
know
you're
that's
blowing kisses? He said, don't
no.
come near me.
I
He said,
know
don't come
that's right.
near me.
No, that's right.
So here we go. The fictional family I'm feeling this week is the Harrisons from the movie Stepmom, starring Julia Roberts, Susan Sarandon, and Ed Harris. I don't know if you've seen that, Sean, but it's an old
Love
movie
it. One
from
of
the
my
90s.
favorite
Oh, yeah.
tearjerkers. Oh
Oh,
my
yeah.
God.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah. Yes. So the scene I'm going to talk about tonight is the scene where Julia, who is Isabel, bought a puppy trying to win over Anna and Ben, or the kids, trying to win over the kids. Um and she says to the daughter, she says, "Well, look at this puppy." And the daughter's like, "Oh no, I don't do dogs. I don't like dogs. I am allergic and I don't, whatever. They make me itch." All these things. And of
Mhm.
course, Isabel is crestfallen and she looks, really down. She's like, "Oh man, I wish your dad would have told me that. I did not know that you had an allergy or, a reaction to dogs." And the little girl's clearly lying, but whatever. So then, Julia Roberts' character, she says, "Okay, well, let's give the dog a name." And the daughter says, "Isabel," which is Julia's
Her
name.
name. Mhm.
Yeah, she says, because she's irritating and she makes me itch and all these things. So we'll call her Isabel. And then she stomps off to her room. And um, Isabel, Julia walks or stomps off behind her, and she, slams the door open and she says to her, pretty much saying, "I'm your stepmom." And the girl is like, "I don't care who you are. I don't want you here because I love my mom," and blah blah blah. Oh, and a little bit of backstory about that. So the husband actually left his wife for Julia Roberts. So it wasn't like they were already divorced and something happened.
Mhm.
He actually cheated on his wife and left his wife for Julia. So that's another dynamic that maybe we'll touch on another show. Um,
Right.
but that's the woman he loved. And um, so when Isabel says to the daughter, she says, "You may not like me, but you will have to listen to me in this house." And the girl says, "This is my dad's house." And Isabel says, "I know. It's your dad's house and it's my house. So you will follow my rules or, whatever." And she makes a mistake. Uh, Isabel makes a mistake when she says something like, um, well, I'm sorry, the daughter says, "I don't have to listen to you. You're not my mother." And Isabel says, "Thank God for that." And she regretted those words, of course, immediately. And she
Mhm.
says, "I'm sorry. What I meant to say was, you have a great mom and you don't need another one. But when you're here, just recognize that this is my house too. I'm here, we're all here, and we're gonna have to make this work." And the girl was still defiant, and she's like, "No." But you could tell the seed had been planted because Julia turns around, or Isabel turns and walks out of the room, and the puppy comes to the door. And the little girl picks up the puppy that she's supposedly so allergic to and can't stand and makes her itch, but she cradles the puppy in her arm. And that was symbolic of her accepting of she was starting to
Accepting
show
the
some
fact that
acceptance, yeah, of her
of her
stepmom.
stepmom. Mhm.
Uh-huh. Yes. So um a lot of times this scene told me is that it takes an adult to, yes, she messed up when she said, "Thank God I'm not your mom," but she corrected herself. So
Mhm.
sometimes the adult has to realize, yeah, the kids may be running the show or whatever, but you got to remember that they are kids. And if you are that step parent, give them a little grace.
That's right.
They might need a little grace because you're the adult, and that is the fictional family I'm feeling.
That is awesome, and you know what, Shannon? That's a great scene, a great movie altogether, but that's the one thing that kinda,
Yeah,
melted my husband into finally just kinda just easing off a little. Because yeah, he was the adult, but I would say all the time, "Jimmy, you're the adult. Could you just look at it from a
yeah,
different view?" And when he
yeah.
started to
Right.
actually see, like, "I get it. They've been here. It's
Mhm.
not that they don't want
Mhm.
me here. They just don't want me to be all," they didn't want him to have all of my time. So when he
Right.
finally came down just a little to say, "You know what? I am the step parent. This was their house. This
Mhm.
was their world, and I came into it."
Right.
Things ran so much
Mhm.
smoother. So that is correct. The
Yeah.
adult has to still be an adult at the end of the
Right.
day. Mhm.
Yeah.
Great
You
fictional family,
cannot.
girl.
Thank you. All right. So that is our episode for tonight. We want to thank you all for joining us. Like we say each week, we look forward to this and we look forward to next week and the weeks after. And as our subscriber base grows across the world, across the globe, we want to thank you all for tuning in. And hopefully, when you hear me next week, I won't sound like this. I'll be all cleared up.
But you know what, baby mama? Thank you for showing up, baby. You are faithful,
Of
and I love
course.
you.
I
Feel
love
better.
you too. Thank you so
Until
much.
next week, fam.
I'm wifey.